Welcome in, everyone! If you've ever felt like your day is just being totally pushed and pulled by these massive, unseen energetic forces, trust me, you are not alone. Today, we're doing a full explainer on the Cosmogenesis weather broadcast. We're going to take all those complex cosmic barometric pressures and boil them right down into actionable, everyday guidance. We're turning celestial data into practical wisdom that you can literally use right now.
And this brilliantly illustrates our starting point for today. It's the full Cosmogenesis Daily Octave Dashboard for June 19, 2026, Universal Day 170. It is packed with incredibly dense signal data, tracking everything from lunar cycles all the way down to your biological routing. But hey, keep this in mind as we go. This explainer and this dashboard, it's just the observatory. You are the navigator. Our goal here is simply to hand you the exact coordinates so you can chart your own course effectively.
Okay, here's our roadmap for today. Section 1, the Cosmic Weather Forecast. Section 2, Tracking the Dragon Curve. Section 3, Translating Cosmic Biometrics. Section 4, Your Biological Routing. And finally, Daily Guidance and Orientation.
Let's jump right into Section 1, the Cosmic Weather Forecast, where we'll look at the major atmospheric pressures driving today's Universal Day 170 weather.
Right off the bat, we're seeing this amazing juxtaposition between our two main celestial engines, the solar and lunar right ascensions. On the solar side, Gate 6 is active. That's the breath spiral entry, and it's pushing hard for breath, transition, and synchronization. But then, looking over at the lunar side, which by the way is a 76% illuminated waxing gibbous right now, we're sitting right in Gate 11. That's the telomerase sync, and it is heavily focused on internal mechanics, repair, and pattern recognition. So we've got this external drive for transition completely balanced by a really deep internal call for cellular repair.
Let's track how this builds in our triharmonic pulse. The current state of our octave pulse shows us sitting exactly at pulse 6, and we're transitioning toward pulse 9. So what does that actually mean for you? Well, pulse 6 is all about regulation and structure. It's organization, flow, balance. Basically, it's the very start of the integration arc. We have to structure our current reality before we can even begin to tap into the meaning and potential found at pulse 9. It's kind of like organizing all the puzzle pieces on the table before you try to see the final picture.
Moving right along to Section 2, Tracking the Dragon Curve. Let's shift our focus over to the long-range radar.
The Dragon Curve Continuity Tracker is such a beautiful illustration of the recursive time cycle we're all riding. It sweeps from that initial emergence at the new moon, peaks up at 14.7 days, and then begins its descent through compression. And our current coordinates? They put us exactly at cycle day 29.53. We have officially entered the phase known as dissolution.
Knowing exactly where we are on that curve is absolutely crucial. The dashboard explicitly notes our position as dissolution. It's the space between completion and reemergence, the sacred pause. Looking at our void corridor status, we are exactly 2% of our cycle into the void. So listen, this is not the time for massive outward expansion. It's a quiet, profound moment. It is literally the deep breath right before the plunge.
All right. Section 3, Translating Cosmic Biometrics. Now that we've got the celestial radar down, let's bring it into our local environment.
Honestly, if we look at the environmental measurements, our cosmic biometrics, there is some incredibly good news today. Even though we're sitting in that dissolution void phase we just talked about, our local field is holding up beautifully. Field clarity is sitting at a very clear 74%, meaning signal distinction is high. On top of that, field coherence is 72% stable. You'd normally expect a void period to feel pretty chaotic, but the environment right now is surprisingly stable and clear, giving us a really solid foundation to work from.
But clarity doesn't mean you get to just sit back without effort. While expansion pressure and recovery requirements are holding steady at a moderate level, our integration load is distinctly marked as high. That represents the processing demand on your system right now. Organizing all of this incoming, distinct signal takes a massive amount of internal energy today. You are processing a whole lot behind the scenes.
And that brings us perfectly into Section 4, your biological routing. Let's talk about how these cosmic forces actually translate physically within your own body.
Let's break down this biological routing through the Mobius translation between the solar and lunar inputs. On the solar side, the cosmosynthesis. The emphasis right now is heavily on cellular organization and conserving energy. At the exact same time, the lunar mitovoltage input is demanding recovery pathways and pattern stabilization. When you synthesize those two biological inputs, the message is unmistakable.
Your body's primary mandate today is conserving energy and organizing itself at a cellular level.
And honestly, that biological demand makes total sense when we look at the planetary harmonics. We've got deep pressure concentrating in some very specific areas. Mars, Saturn, and Pluto are clustering pressure right around gate 14, demanding compression and structure. The Sun and Mercury are lighting up gate 6 for expression and clarity. Meanwhile, the Moon is putting deep pressure on gate 7. That's your reflection, your emotion, and your inner weather. It's a very heavy, introspective planetary alignment that directly fuels our need for that internal biological structuring.
Okay, Section 5, Daily Guidance and Orientation. Let's bring all this down to the ground level and turn these metrics into things you can actually do today.
To really support this high integration load and all these structural themes, the Observer Guidance gives us a crystal clear list of practices to prioritize. You absolutely need to focus on hydration and specific breathing practices today. Remember, the solar aura is activating the breath spiral entry right now. Pair that breath work with gentle movement, journaling, and pattern review. These are the specific tools that are going to help your biological routing stabilize and recover.
On the flip side, there are things you really need to aggressively minimize today. Reduce your overcommitment, cut out excess stimulation, and please stop multitasking. With an integration load this high, your system just can't handle extraneous noise. Also, keep a very close watch on specific symptoms: mental looping, emotional sensitivity, and sleep disruption. If you find yourself spiraling into emotional overanalysis, recognize it for what it is. It's a symptom of the cosmic weather, not an objective reality.
Now, I need to urgently point out this high burn watch indicator. If you're observing those symptoms we just talked about, restless sleep, heat spikes, mental looping, you are advised to immediately shift into a cooling protocol. Why? Because the next gate watch shows that a gate 7 solar infusion is right around the corner. That shift is going to bring increased momentum, visibility, and external activation. You literally cannot afford to burn out right before this new wave hits.
So the core takeaway of this entire dashboard culminates right here in the daily octave summary. Our current field state is the integration corridor. The entire purpose of today is just organizing recent incoming signals into a usable structure. The posture you want to adopt is simple but profound. Observe before acting, organize before expanding, synchronize before accelerating. Let today's keywords guide you: breath, stand by, organize, repair, and sync.
As we wrap up this explainer, I want to read the foundational philosophy located right at the bottom of today's dashboard. This is the observatory. You are the navigator. The dragon curve is the path. The pause restores. The return renews. Together, they create orientation. I just love how that completely closes the loop on our initial meteorological metaphor. The data's all here, but the power to use it, that rests entirely in your hands. Which leaves us with one final vital question to ponder as you step into your day. Knowing the cosmic pressures, knowing the high integration load, and knowing the deep demand for biological recovery, how will you choose to observe, organize, and synchronize in today's integration corridor before you accelerate? Take that sacred pause today, structure your breath, and get ready for the momentum to come. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and happy navigating.